Jump, leap, bounce, pounce, hop, skip, lunge, spring. What's the difference between these words, guys? Do you know the answer? They're all very similar. Well, one of my subscribers asked me this question. Great question. So today, guys, we're going to take a look at this. The first thing I would say is sometimes when you have a bunch of synonyms, right? A synonym is a word that's kind of similar to another word, right? All of these are kind of synonyms, right? So when you have synonyms, very often it's kind of flexible, right? Maybe you could use hop in a situation, or jump, or leap, or it's kind of flexible. It's your choice. But there is a difference. There are some, different situations where we might use one word instead of another word. So I want to kind of teach you in this lesson the subtle differences between these words, okay? So let's dive in. So the most generic word, just the most general word, is jump, right? That's the most common word. It just means, to jump, right? To any kind of jump. You can jump that way, you can jump up, you can jump, laterally. Laterally means to the side. You can jump like forward, you can jump back, you can, it's the most general word. Okay, so you can use jump in almost all these situations, but sometimes it's good to know, the more specific word, especially if you're taking an exam, right? A lot of my videos are about like the CELPIP exam, but if you're taking IELTS or TOEFL or something, sometimes it's better to know kind of the more specific word, okay? So let's take a look at this, right? This is a trampoline. Okay, so these kids are jumping on the trampoline. Now, is there a different word we could use here? It's fine to use the word jump, right? That's normal. These kids are jumping on the trampoline. Now, there is another word we could use here, and that is the word bounce. Okay, so to bounce means up and down, vertically, right? Up and down, you're bouncing, usually in the same spot, right? If you're bouncing, you're not really bouncing forward or bouncing back. You're kind of bouncing up and down in the same place. Now, I don't know if you remember when you were a kid. When I was a kid, these things were really popular. Bouncy balls. Did you have a bouncy ball? Let me know down in the comments if you had a bouncy ball. I love bouncy balls. Just throwing them at the wall, or they just bounce all over the place. They were awesome. Now, I think this can also be called a bouncy ball. It's like a big inflated kind of like a balloon, and you hold there's like the handle here, and you hold the handle, and you bounce. You bounce all over the place. Did you have one of these as a kid? They're kind of fun because you can just bounce. So this thing is called a pogo stick. Can you see it, or is my microphone in the way? So a pogo stick, right? You hold here, and then you put your feet here, and you bounce. Or you could say you jump, right? You jump all over the place, or you bounce, right? It's called a pogo stick. So you can probably notice with the word bounce, we're kind of talking about some kind of elasticity, right? It's like boing, boing. So the word, when we think about the word bounce, the sound effect that bouncing makes is like boing. So if you have a bouncy ball and you're throwing the ball around and you want to describe that sound to someone, you could say the bouncy ball went boing, 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 right? Or if you're on a pogo stick, boing, boing. I don't know if it really makes that sound. Does it make the word boing? I don't know. But you kind of get the idea. It has that elasticity, right? Now, you could use it in kind of more of like a figurative way. You could say these kids are bouncing up and down with excitement, right? It's Christmas. Let's say it's Christmas morning and they're going to open their presents. They're so excited, right? even if they're not bouncing up and down, you can describe it like that because they're just excited, right? They're full of excitement. So you could say they're bouncing up and down with excitement. Now, what's the difference between bounce and hop? Hop, that's a similar idea. Now, with hop, I would say there is no elasticity, right? So if you remember the bouncy ball or the pogo stick, it's like a spring, right? Boing. And with hop, we don't really have that elasticity. So if you're the kids on the trampoline, for example, you would not say they're hopping on the trampoline. You could either say they're jumping on the trampoline or they're bouncing on the trampoline. Oh, hey, do you know what a bouncy castle is? It's one of those inflatable castles that you have at outdoor events. Like if there's some sort of a festival or something like that, sometimes they have a big bouncy castle and the kids go up there and they just jump around. Maybe there's like a slide going down or something like that. So yeah, so hop. Now, what animals hop? Probably the most common animal that hops is a rabbit. Now, if you think about the way a rabbit moves, like, do rabbits walk? They don't walk really. They don't run. Although the rabbits around here, these jackrabbits, I mean, yeah, you could say they run really fast. But usually when rabbits move, they hop, right? So they just go from one place to another place in a small jump. It's like they jump, right? That's called a hop. So notice that they're moving forward, right? They're not bouncing up and down. They're moving forward. Now, you could say, I'm hopping on one foot. Now, in that situation, you're probably not moving forward. So you're probably just kind of you're on one foot, right? And you're hopping. Now, you could be hopping forward or backward, or maybe you're just hopping in one place. You're hopping on the spot. So, with this kind of stuff, there's a bit of flexibility, right? I mean, you could say he's jumping on one foot, but it would be much more natural to say he's hopping on one foot. Have you ever hopped on one foot? So that's kind of what a hop is. Think about rabbits, the way rabbits move. Now, what about leap? What's the difference between hop and leap? Now, frogs leap. Okay, so I would say a leap is a big jump. All right, so you could leap forward, it's a big jump forward, or you could leap up. Like if you think about a basketball player, right? Basketball players, they leap up in the air and then they dunk the basketball. So leap could be forward, or you could leap, I guess you could leap back or leap to the side or whatever, but it's a big jump. Okay, it's bigger than a hop. A hop is just kind of like, just a small jump. A leap is a big jump. Like if you think about a frog, right? When frogs leap, I mean, they leap. If you think about the size of a frog's body, okay, think relatively. A frog's body is like that big. Well, a frog can leap probably like 20 times the length of its own body, right? So that's really far. I mean, from a human perspective, the frog might jump from here to here, so it doesn't look like it's that big of a distance. But from a frog's perspective, right? If you just put yourself in the body of a frog, that's a huge jump. So you're leaping, right? It's a big jump. Now there is a game. Can you read that? It says leapfrog. So there's a children's game called Leapfrog where you jump over the other person, right? The other person kind of like ducks down and you put your hands on the person's back and then you jump over and then they jump over you, right? So when this girl lands, she'll kind of tuck down like that, and then this girl will jump over her. So they're leapfrogging each other, right? So that's what it means to leapfrog. Now, why is it called leapfrog and not hop frog? Because frogs leap, right? If this was a rabbit game, it would probably be called hop rabbit. I don't know, yeah, rabbit hop, yeah, it would be called hop rabbit, but there's no game called hop rabbit. The game is called leap frog, right? You're taking a bigger jump than a hop, and it has to do with frogs. So frogs leap, rabbits hop. Okay. Now there's a sport called long jump, right? If you watch the Olympics, you'll see people doing long jump where you run really fast and then you leap in the air and then you land in a sand pit. Okay, so that would be a good example of using the word leap, right? It's not just a jump. You're not just like jumping into the sand. You're just running at top speed, and then you leap forward, and you try to get, I mean, that's why it's called long jump, right? You're jumping as long, like as far as you can. So yeah, some of those long jumpers are crazy. Like watching them, and in the air, they kind of put their legs forward like that to try to get like maximum distance. Some of these athletes are crazy. So this exercise here that this guy's doing is called lunges. Okay, he's doing lunges. Lunges work your quad muscles, and actually all your leg muscles, your hamstrings, your butt, your maybe your calf muscles. Okay, so lunges are a good exercise. So if you think about what this motion is, right? You're moving forward, and you're moving forward for some reason. Now, why would you be doing that? Well, this guy's doing it for exercise, right? But if you think about attacking someone, let's say you have a sword or maybe just your fist or something like that, right? And you want to attack someone, you're gonna lunge forward. It kind of almost means to jump forward, but with a lunge, it might not really involve a jump. It might just involve like a sudden move forward, either with your sword, right? You're lunging, or with your fist or something like that, right? So a lunge could involve a jump, but it might not involve a jump. It might just involve like a movement forward. Okay, so this one, it's a bit flexible. Sometimes it's a jump, sometimes it's not a jump. So maybe this word shouldn't really be in the list, but because it's so similar, I thought I'd put it in the list. Okay, so this is another one that is similar to lunge. And why is it similar? Because very often it's attacking something, right? So animals pounce when they want to attack something, right? So if you think about the word lunge, very often it's for the purpose of attacking. It doesn't always have to be. It could be for the purpose of exercising, or it could be for the purpose of like grabbing something or something. But very often we're lunging when we attack. Well, it's the same thing with pounce, except the difference between pounce and lunge is pounce always involves jumping, right? So if you think about this kitten, right? Let's say this kitten sees a mouse in the grass over here. She's going to suddenly jump. She's not just going to lunge and move forward. It's going to be up and down, right? If you watch cats hunt, they jump up and they dive down, right? So that's called pouncing. They pounce. Now, this word specifically, it's only used in this situation. You don't use the word pounce in any other really situation. It's not like you're, let's say, jumping for playing. You're not playing and then you're pouncing. No, you pounce on someone or something. Like, let's say you're just like wrestling with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You might hide behind the door, and then when they come into the room, you just pounce on them. All right. So you pounce there needs to be an object, right? There's something that you're seeing and you're pouncing on it. Whereas with the word jump or hop, it doesn't need like an object, right? You can just be jumping for no reason. You can be hopping or skipping. We're going to look at the word skip as well. But first, let's look at this word spring. Okay, so spring in a way is kind of a similar idea where there's a sudden movement, right? So if you think about lunge, it's sudden. If you pounce, it's a sudden movement. Well, if you spring, it's also a sudden movement. Okay, so let's say there's a fire alarm, right? You could say she sprang out of her seat when she heard the alarm. She sprang out of her seat. Like, let's say you're sitting in class. You're a good student, you're taking some notes. Suddenly the fire alarm goes and you just spring out of your seat, right? Or very often we use the phrase to spring into action, right? Like let's say your kids are playing in the yard and suddenly your kid runs out onto the street and there's a car coming. You spring into action, right? You need to save your kid who just ran out into the street who's going to get hit by the car. So you see it and immediately you spring into action, right? You go and you just save your kid, right? So you spring into action. That's a very common phrase that we use. Okay, so another one is to skip. Skip is kind of like a combination between to run and hop. Not run really fast, just kind of, how kids do sometimes. If kids are feeling just lighthearted, let's say they're going to someone's house. So this is Little Red Riding Hood, right? She's going to visit her grandma. She's got her cookies or whatever she's got here, right? So she's just going to her grandma's house, right? Now, what's she going to do? Is she going to walk? Is she going to run? Is she going to jog? No, she's going to skip. You know how kids do. They just kind of run and hop just in a kind of a playful, casual way, right? So you could say, Little Red Riding Hood was skipping along to her mother's house or grandmother's house, right? Now, skipping is also, you have a skipping rope, right? That thing is called a skipping rope, and it's like a form of exercise or a game, whatever you want to do it for. You skip. It's called skipping. Some people do it for exercise every morning. I don't. Do you do skipping every morning for exercise? So guys, that's pretty much it. Now, all of these are kind of related to jump, right? They're very similar. These words are similar, but like I said, very often in English, words can be similar, but sometimes in one situation we use one word, and in another situation, or for a different animal, let's say, we use a different word. For example, rabbits hop, frogs leap. It's this kind of a similar idea. Maybe in your language, the word is the same. Let me know. In your language, do rabbits and frogs use the same word? Is it the same word for their motion, or is it a different word? Like I said, in many situations, you can just use the word jump. You could say the rabbit is jumping along. Although, when it comes to like sounding natural, right, then you need to kind of know the differences between these and which word sounds natural in a certain situation, right? So let's just review these, right? Just to kind of get the differences, right? So these kids are jumping on the trampoline or bouncing, right? Bounces means up and down. These are called bouncy balls. This is also a bouncy, maybe an exercise ball or something like that. Pogo stick. Again, you bounce or jump on a pogo stick. Elasticity, right? That's what we mean with the word bounce. Bouncing up and down with excitement. Hop, right? Rabbits hop. Now, usually when someone hops, it means they move forward, or at least for rabbits, they move forward. But if people hop on one foot, they don't necessarily need to move forward, right? Frogs leap, or you could say the frogs jump. Or if the frog is just like hopping along, you could use the word hop for a frog too. You know, if it's just small jumps. But if it's a big jump, then like I said, leap, we would use the word leap if it's a big jump, right? Leapfrog, the woman is leaping in the long jump. Lunge means to go forward, often in an attacking sort of way. To pounce, again, pounce is to jump up very fast in attacking. You're trying to pounce on something or someone. Spring means a sudden movement. If you spring into action, it means you do something very quickly. You know, you get out of your chair. Like for me now, if I were to spring into action, I jump up out of my chair, spring into action, right? To skip means run and hop, like kids do when they go visit their grandma, right? Or skipping is an exercise. So guys, that's those words that my subscriber asked me to compare, and that's a great question. You know, if you have any questions like this, if you want me to, you know, talk about the differences between certain words, I'd be happy to make a lesson. So let me know down in the comments. I'll put it on my list of lessons. It might take me a few weeks or a few years, but I'll put it on my list. I'll try to make that lesson as soon as I can. So guys, for homework, what would make you spring into action? So think of an example and let me know down in the comments. Maybe it's like, maybe you hear the ice cream truck outside. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, 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 ding. Gotta get my wallet, get my money. Quick, quick. You know, the ice cream truck's gonna drive by. You can't miss it, right? You gotta spring into action. Get your $5, run down the stairs. Give me my ice cream. What kind of ice cream would you get if you were to spring into action and go chase down the ice cream truck before it drives away? Let me know what ice cream you would get and what would make you spring into action. Guys, I love reading your comments. Thank you so much for all your comments. Thank you guys for always smashing like and just for all your support. I really appreciate it. So guys, with that, I'll wish you a great day. As always, I love you so much, and I will see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.